Okay, perhaps we can start with a brief introduction to Showerkap, the company, sort of when, why formed, and any sort of key people and any sort of milestones along the way.
Yeah, of course. Well, we were founded in May 2022, so not that long ago, by Steve Harding, who is the founder and inventor of Showerkap. And it all came about really during COVID times, as much did happen then, with how much water he was using in his house, really, and what was happening in our local area. We're based in West Sussex, so we're quite a water scarce area. And we come from Horsham in particular, which has water neutrality as well. So, as an engineer and a kind of a problem solver, he kind of thought, well, how can I address or find a solution in which that we can address that kind of issue of global scarcity? So he then came up with this idea of kind of creating a smart water technology really to then simulate kind of water running out in a shower in specific, because that's where most of the water was being used. And we don't kind of realize actually how much water we're using in a shower because it just goes straight down the drain. And so he came up with this kind of behavioral science to kind of create that behavioral cue to get people to shorten their shower times without kind of compromising comfort, like flow restrictors, etc. And with this, he had to pair it with IoT sensors to get all the data, detect flow, temperature, usage, etc. And that kind of really is how it all started. And it's developed further since then. So I joined in 2023 as head of strategic partnerships. And then Paul Harding also joined, which is director of technical. And then the following year, we had our finance director come on board, Malcolm Foreman. And then we've also got two of our team in kind of communications and PR, which is Kathy Kelly and Lyndall King as well. So we are a very small team still, but obviously we're very dedicated about, reducing water use and overconsumption as well. So yeah, that's kind of like the basis of how we started the company and where we are now. And we've actually successfully deployed two pilots already this year. So one in a hotel in Sandman Signature, and another one has just started in University of Surrey as well.
Okay, so I'm intrigued because I know, having been in the industry for a while, that the sort of focus was stopping people having baths and turning to showers because obviously they're more efficient water use to start with. But obviously this is the next step, so people having sort of efficient showers. So as you said, it's smart water management with behavioural science. So perhaps
Yeah.
can you tell us how it actually works and practice? What does the solution look like?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So I think because obviously how everything's designed and everything's like a nicer, faster shower experience and everything like that, we don't actually realize that we use an excessive amount in showering now. We can use 10 to 15 litres per minute. So in realistic, if we're looking at 10 to 15-minute shower, you're looking at 100 to 150 litres already gone in that space of time. So actually, it's more than what you'd use if you were using a bath. So yeah, what makes us kind of unique is you're right. We've taken that kind of smart technology, that water management system, but integrated behavioral science and behavioral change into that. And we do that with obviously the patented technology that Steve invented, which is our nudge valve. And then we've taken that, so it's got the IoT sensors in it as well, and it kind of meshes along with all the other boxes. So it takes all those temperatures, as I said, the flow rates, and also your energy as well. And it just goes into your normal pipework, so it doesn't actually fit into a bathroom. So you can actually put it straight into the hot and cold supply, and then it takes all that information and that data that we collect with our sensors and takes it up to our cloud system and back down into a dashboard. And then what that gives you is obviously all your monitoring and your analytics as well. So you can physically see and we can pinpoint if there's any potential leaks or if there's any inefficiencies in a building. especially with circulation issues. And then also it shows you if there's a potential of overconsumption as well, which is kind of like the key area that we're looking at really, is overconsumption. The nudge valve, which is our behavioral cue, is very interactive actually. And we have a mobile app called Ripple, and that interacts with the individual users. So they can actually go in and see what their impact they're having, but also change that time and that fade temperature, and also get rewarded for choosing those eco-friendly choices. So for reducing their consumption, they can get rewarded for it.
Okay, so if I understood correctly, if when you're having the shower, is there any interaction at that point, or is it you're given data sort of once you've had the shower that sort of helps you improve your use or optimize use, etc. Or is there any kind of alarming or prompting while you're showering to say you've been here for 10 minutes and that's long enough? I did just yeah, just curious as to
Yeah.
how that behavioral science bit works, I suppose.
Yeah, so that fade technology is where it comes in. So you set that timer and your fade time. And then when you reach that time, it gradually reduces that temperature. It's like a physical nudge to actually shorten your shower and step out. So it's not a shock shower at all. It's very gradual. So yeah, if you set it your normal temperature, it reaches, and then it kind of goes down to, you can say 35 degrees.
Okay, and you say you've got a couple of installations. I know there's one, I've seen a bit of info about it to do with a Gatwick hotel. Just be good to understand how that came about. Yeah, what was the process there?
Yeah, so we've been members of Gatwick Diamond Business now for nearly 2 years, and Sandman Signature is also a member. So that's kind of how we first interacted. They have a very much similar ethos to us. So they're very forward-thinking, sustainable hotel. They had last year, they got a Green Key certification. So they try and interact and reduce their usage in all ways. So when we came aboard, really that's where we wanted to focus on, is then looking at this water consumption now and driving that down. But as I said, it's not just driving water. Obviously, it's intrinsically linked. So we're reducing their energy and we're reducing their carbon as well. So we worked really closely with Gints, who's the general manager, and also their maintenance teams to implement this eco floor, we call it, because we've implemented it on one floor. And we started in April this year. So we've only been in 5 months. And then kind of in the first couple of months, we just did data collection, kind of just seeing what was going on the floor, what their use was. And then in July 2025, we actually implemented our behavioural intervention. And we went about it, we set the timers and we preset it for the whole of the floor. We gave lots of messaging in the room as well to discuss what we're actually trying to achieve and what the hotels are trying to achieve in the long run. And so far, we've seen a 58% reduction per guest compared to other floors that aren't using our device. So in 2 months, we've saved 180,000 litres of water for just 20 rooms, and a 14% decrease in energy as well, and carbon, which is amazing for just kind of like the first 2 months of interaction with the guests.
And in terms of the installation, what was required? I guess some things the sensors presumably had to go into each room, but what yeah, just give us some idea of the I suppose the time frame and the logistics of installing the solution.
Yeah, so it's, I'd say, quite simple for like a plumbing and electrician to go in and do it. It goes into each riser. So as I said, we don't have to kind of go into the guest rooms or anything like that and disturb their operations. And what we do is we implement the sensors and the Nexus valve into the hot and cold supply. And it's almost like installing a blending valve. So it's a very simple job to do. And then the we have to connect that to electricity, but it's a very low voltage. That's obviously connected to the valve and driving that motor as well. So as I said, yeah, as long as you're a qualified plumber, I mean, the maintenance team at Sandman actually implemented them themselves because they have a team. So they took um, about they did it gradually. So they did about 2 weeks, but in realistic, it takes probably 1 to 2 hours to implement one per riser. So yeah, it's a very simple process, and can kind of be worked around their operations. Yeah, so it can be worked around their operations and between check in and check out, because obviously you don't want to disrupt the guests too much as well. Yeah, the IoT devices is quite simple as well because we have a wireless SIM. So it doesn't really connect with the hotel or anything like that. It's a very secured and separate wireless connection. And then what we do is it's like almost like a plug and play. So it's already pre-configurated before we put them in. So it's a very simple kind of put it all together, connect some meshes with our router and an LTE router, which then can then bounce back up to our cloud system as well. So yeah,
Okay. And
relatively simple process,
yeah.
I say.
And the cloud system, is that something that the customer has access to, so they can see what's going on as well as yourselves? So you sort of between you can you look at what's going on, and if there's anything more that needs being, or can be done, you can sort of collaborate on that. Is that the
Yeah, exactly. So the client has full access to that dashboard, so they can see exactly what's going on with their water use. So they can see kind of their peaks, their troughs of, what their peak times of usage are. They can then see their alerts for obviously potential water leaks, or because we do temperatures as well, we can actually check for Legionella, so we can see, if your cold is too high or your hot is too low, it will flag that as well. It will also flag for any potential frost alerts, etc. as well. So yeah, it's very easy to view dashboard. They can see everything that they're using, so energy, carbon, all your temperatures as well as your water usage. So it's easy to navigate, and it then can add targets on. So they can put their targets in for the ESG. So it's kind of then is a one-stop solution because they can then see what they're using, set their targets, and also obviously get their alerts as well through.
And you said obviously the hotel is very much focused on sustainability, but as you also explained, they're saving on their energy bill, and I guess their water bills come down as well. I'm
Yeah.
interested. I mean, the customers that go there, are they pretty much knowing what the hotel stands for, or have they had any pushback from customers to say, I want to, if I'm paying for a hotel, I want to have a shower for half an hour and leave me alone, or is that not the case, if you like?
No, actually, surprisingly, I think because of the way that we did the messaging and the storytelling, and because Sandman is such it well, has a Green Key certification, so they're very much on top of their sustainability, and they want the guests to be a part of that journey. So it was a lot easier to interact with the guests. And we have given them the option. If they do not want to partake, then they can tell us to turn it off. That's absolutely fine. But since we've implemented it, actually all guests have not asked for it to be turned off and have all been welcoming to the devices being in the rooms. So yeah, we haven't had any negative feedback, which is very positive news, obviously, for us and for the hotel.
Yeah, and in terms of the potential for it, I mean, I guess we can all work out for ourselves how many hotels there are, out there, and maybe other buildings. So, um, just your thoughts, I suppose, as to how excited you are, and what would be the barrier, I suppose. What do you think you have to overcome to get this more widespread, or do you think it's just a question as fast as you can talk to people, then the installations will follow?
Yeah, I think when we looked at it, we were like, who are the biggest users of water and where can we have the biggest impact? And one of them obviously was hotels. And we all know that obviously if we can use up to 8 times more water than local communities can. So there's a really big opportunity for us to drive that change, and to have that intervention and reduce water consumption there. Um, now, yeah, there is obviously, we've seen those issues coming up in Europe, where the locals aren't getting the amount of water that they need, and the hotels obviously are using quite a substantial amount. So we can see the potential of how this kind of technology can change. Hopefully, what we're trying to do is change how people view water and their relationship with water, and just to be more mindful with it. So to create that new norm. So that's where we come in, and obviously with the Sandman signature, they've been very accommodating, and we've been able to do a lot of PR around it, and we've been sharing, obviously, with the press and with the media about what we're doing. And I think it's just that kind of communications that we have. If we can keep on with that messaging, and obviously advocate about reducing our water consumption, then we're hoping that the word will spread, and that obviously in turn we can increase kind of into the market, and try and go elsewhere, just not the UK, Europe, MENA, etc.
Okay, and in terms, so is it fairly organic, the growth you're planning, or do you have ideas to sort of, I don't know, whether it's contacting, sort of plumbing firms that might be, advocates on your behalf, or other ways of spreading the message? And you say sort of internationally, would you be, I mean, is it something you can sell through a distributor who can then sell it on to people, or do you need to sort of keep control of it? Just, I suppose, how does that
Yeah,
expansion look like? Okay.
it was is to be more organically, and to grow it organically. We actually manufacture these ourselves. We've got our own manufacturing plants, so we control everything. And that's kind of what we want to continue. So more of that B2B, and we have that relationship with the client, to help them navigate, and to help them meet those sustainability goals as well, and to help reduce their consumption. So we really do want to build that perfect relationship, and moving forward, help them in their reduction of water, energy, and also carbon as well.
Okay, but I'm guessing at the very least, I mean, talking to water companies or something like that, that they can then talk to their sort of large water users, of which obviously they have, etc. That's
Yeah.
an approach that potentially would work, and various other things. Is that sort of those sort of conversations you're planning to have, or you're already having?
Yeah, we're already having, yeah, with our local water companies. Yeah. So yeah, we always see that anyone in, especially in the water industry or energy or carbon, we always work quite collaboratively with and collectively, because we, obviously if we work together, we're going to create a bigger chain and a bigger change in how we obviously reduce our consumption. So that's a key area that we are looking at, collaborating with a lot of other partners in this.
Okay, and maybe just sort of find it. I mean, are there plans to further develop the solution, or is it pretty much, what it is the final sort of endpoint? And then, smart water management expertise you have, is any sort of plans over time to come up with other things, or is this going to keep you? Sounds as if the opportunity is going to keep you busy for quite a while, but
It's going to keep us very busy.
yeah, but
Um,
you may have other, just what you can share as to what, what else you might be getting up to, I suppose, over the next
yeah.
so.
Our research and development is continuously ongoing. So yeah, we have got plans in the pipeline to develop the system even further. We are already looking at integrating shut-off valves into it, so we can actually automatically shut off if there is any potential leaks, as well. And the IT sign of the core systemic, so all the development for the dashboard and the mobile app will be continuously being developed. So yeah, it's we're going to be busy for the foreseeable future, that's for sure.
No, I mean, it's been brilliant to chat, and thank you so much. I mean, it's a very exciting development. The potential sounds phenomenal. So maybe we can touch base either end of this year or sometime next year when see where you've got to. But
I'd love
thank you
to.
so much for sharing insights as to what you're doing, and for your time. Thank you, Kylie.
No, thank you, Phil.